Hi everybody. I was given a recipe and she's like, I know you bake. So this is a recipe that her father used to use to make banana cake. And there's no instructions. I don't know if you can see it. See it? There's no instructions on here. So I'm going to try making it. And I'm going to use the ingredients and I'm going to do what I think should be done in order to make this. Yeah, it uses shortening. It's kind of odd, but okay. So I'm gonna try it, see what happens. Normally, I would just mix all the wet ingredients and then the dry and then bring them together. Since I've got milk in the recipe, I'm going to try doing like a little flour, little milk, a little flour, little milk. They want like one of those. I'm gonna do the wet ingredients first because that's the easiest. So you need 2.5 cups of flours. And here comes my doggy. Hi, Jericho. Anytime food's involved, right? They've gotten very used to me baking, and they know if they hang out long enough, I'm going to spill something. So it works out. It's a mutual thing. Okay, 2 and then 1/2, which I see. He's actually had a stomachache the last few days. My poor Jericho. So he hasn't been feeling it. Measuring spoons. And this is kind of cool because it's neat to try old recipes once in a while. Something different. And there's more of an art to the old ones because it's like, oh, a pinch or to taste, or 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Wow. 1, 2, 3. And the ingredients are different. There's this one group that I'm on Facebook called Historic Cooking, and they post recipes that they find, just old recipes. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and some of the measurements are like a teacup or a tin cup. And so there's all kinds of talk like, what the heck is a teacup? What's a tin cup? How much is that? All right, so I got my dry ingredients. And it is interesting because these people find these old recipes and they make stuff. And so many of the cakes and everything don't even have sugar in them because sugar was so hard to come by here in the colonies in the good old days. So it's a lot of molasses and that and honey for sweetening. Okay, now I've got bananas mashed, peanut butter, milk, and shortening. What I would normally do is like a butter and sugar and cream it. So following that principle, I'm going to go with the shortening. I'm going to use this. Shortening and sugar, and then cream that, and then add the other stuff to it. Makes sense, right? Okay, 1. This is a 1/4 cup, so I'm doing 1/2 cup of shortening. And I don't want to totally contaminate my 1 measuring cup there that I had the dry ingredients in, so that's why I'm doing this. And 2. And I hope this turns out, because if it does, it's a peanut butter banana cake. And I have a really good recipe for peanut butter buttercream that I could put on top. It's only a little bit of shortening. That's very small amount of shortening. All right. 1.5 cups of sugar. That's a hearty amount of sugar for so little. Okay. And I don't know what size pan, or if I'm going to use a loaf pan, which I probably will, because I feel like it's more like that. There's 1. And 1/2. You do things enough, you get real good at measuring on the first try. Okay, Yeah, I would mix this. That's what I would do. I wonder if I'm overthinking it. If it's not that complicated. All right. I need a cup of a banana mashed. Show you. It's made crumbs. So that doesn't surprise me because there's so little shortening or butter. It's going to make for a lot more banana. I'm having it mashed first. I would assume you're supposed to use ripe bananas, like overripe, which I don't have. I have perfect bananas. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough bananas. I might not have enough. Might not have enough. Oh, banana. I like her videos. They're funny. Yeah, I'm making a paste at this point in there. This is not as easy as it should be because they are not overripe like I think they should be. But sometimes I get impatient and I just want to try things. I know. I got dogs right under me here. Hi, Jericho. Hi, Janichi. It's darn close. All right. So maybe 2.5 bananas, if they were on the smaller side, would work, but that's darn close to a cup. So I'm going to put this in now. Probably should put the eggs in first. It looks nice. Let's see. My spatula. Looks good. Looks good to me. Look good to you, Jericho? Yes. He says yes. Again, doesn't look bad. It looks, decent. Looks good. Looks good. Definitely greasy, but it looks good. Alright, I'm going to do these one at a time. And I'm cracking them in here just to make sure I don't get any shell. Looks very sloppy. I'm going to give this a scrape. Oh, it's very wet now. Very wet now. I'm just going over the sides to make sure I get it all together because it's not separating, but it's kind of soupy, kind of coagulated-y. I spent time working in a blood testing laboratory before I started my luxurious career here, making cakes on YouTube. And that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of coagulated blood. All right. Peanut butter next, I think. And a half a cup. All right, well, that's in the sink. So we're going to use the small one. Use a knife. I've got creamy peanut butter here. I assume you could use chunky, which would actually probably be better. But this is what I got. So this is what I'm using. Make sure I get the right amount. Yeah, my blood lab testing days, they were interesting. They were interesting. And it wasn't gross or anything, it just was. Yeah. and so many rules and regulations. And I had a lot of cool people that I worked with. And we did this really fun thing where every once in a while, I don't know, maybe a couple times a year, we would do International Day because I guess, I don't know why, we had a lot of different backgrounds working there. And so everybody would make some type of a meal or a snack or something of their ethnicity that they were proud of. And they would bring it in to share, and we'd have like a big buffet of all these different kinds of foods. And oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good. Okay. I did desserts. It's a little better. Okay. Oh, hold up. That actually looks really nice now. Wow. Look at that. That looks nice. Okay. I'm picking it up again. This is where I tend to get it all over the counter and my mixer and everything. Yep, little on the counter. That's why you need a clean counter so that you can do that. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the milk. This has been sitting out as well, so it is room temperature as well. Don't add too much. You see how it's trying to slop up a little bit? Yeah, it's going to slop up and go over the sides. A little flour doesn't matter, but milk is a mess. And I have one of those. What was that? I have one of those guards that you can put on your mixer to pour stuff in, and sometimes I use it, and most of the time I just don't. I don't know. It's just something else you have to clean at the end of the day. I feel like it would be a smoother batter if my bananas had been more ripe and overripe, so that it would have been all smooth and not have chunks. This smells really good, and it's huge. I might put this in a couple of cake pans. All right, that's my ingredients. I think this is very fluffy. My goodness. It's very fluffy. I don't think I overmixed it. We'll find out, right? Just gonna give it another mix just to get anything I scraped up. But that's it. All right. That's a good size. That's a good amount of batter. So I'm gonna use 8-inch cake pans. Probably put some parchment paper down on the bottom because I just don't know. I just don't know if I can trust this recipe or not. I believe that they sell circles already cut out, which would be a nice time saver, but you gotta pay for that convenience. I like to grease my parchment paper just because I feel like it's extra safe now. I have been wrong before. And you can see there's like a little bit on right there that isn't covered. It's fine. It's fine. It's not going anywhere. So this is kind of fun. I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out. I'm going to divide the batter in half as best I can Oh, it smells good. It smells so good, doesn't it, Jericho? He says, yes, yes. No, 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 mister. That tongue stays in your head, buddy boy. Yeah, it feels like a very light and frothy batter. Like it's really airy. Almost like a angel food or a sponge cake or something. But I don't know that I've ever made a cake with Crisco. And if it's an older recipe, I don't know history that well, like Depression era stuff. If butter was hard to come by, it looks pretty even. Some of these I can just spin. I like doing that. It makes it flat. It's fun to do. Okay, into the oven. So these baked for about half an hour. I ended up lowering the heat back to 325. They were cooking too fast on the outside. I didn't like how that was coming out. So dropped it back probably halfway through to 325. About half an hour later, not half an hour later, but about half an hour total, the pick comes out clean. I'm glad I put the parchment paper down because it seems like they're sticking. They've sat in their pans for enough time, for about 10 minutes now, so I'm going to take them out and put them on the actual cooling rack. So you want to make sure you give them time to set before you take them out, which most people know at this point, and if not, there you go. So yeah, I mean, it's soft. It's a very soft, airy, fluffy cake. I can feel how spongy it is. It's like, oh, I will fall apart on you so quick if you don't handle me gently. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. It smells really good. And it didn't burn. They are a dark brown. But again, I don't know if that's because of the temperature or the cake itself, the way I mixed it. I don't know. It's very soft and fluffy. So I'm gonna let them cool, see how they turn out. I don't know if they're gonna sag a little, like settle, but so far so good. I consider this a success. Okay, ready? First, okay. I'll be able to match it up perfectly, top and bottom, in case there's any little imperfections or something. If I cut it crooked, which is possible, it'll still match up and become level. So clever right now. Ooh, look at that banana cake! Look at that banana cake. Well, it obviously cooked very nicely. It feels like it's moist. Let's get a bigger one. Push the icing around to evenly distribute it on your cake. And try not to make little tears like that, because it'll put the crumbs all in your icing. And it'll make an uneven spot as far as height goes. Now, that little mark right there, match it up right there. So it goes together just like that. See that? Isn't that lovely? Just lovely. Scoop some more icing. Right, Pips? He says yes. Yes, I call my dog Pips. Pretty sure we covered why. But if not, it's because when he was a puppy, he pooped all over the house, and he was my little pooper. And it just stuck. So now Jericho's my Poops. It's a terrible nickname. It's a terrible nickname. But What is a nickname if not something, you know, embarrassing or, I don't know, off-putting. Now I'm gonna flip it like that so that my flat, nice flat, will be on the top and the uneven part will be on the bottom. So this uneven part will go with the icing and you'll never even know it's there. And this is just making sure I'm lined up. Yeah, it's gonna be a little tight on icing, not gonna lie. But that's okay, right? The flavor's in the cake, not in the icing. It's a good thing, because I'm ripping this thing to bits. Another way you can tell it's a soft cake, because it shreds under the icing. It's interesting, this cake had no oil, vegetable oil or anything, except for the Crisco, or the shortening. So maybe that's why it maintains some of its moisture, as well as the banana, of course. I'm not that naive. All right, same as before. Find it and find it. Okay. I might go naked cake with this one, which is scraping the outsides. So there's icing on it, but it's a very thin layer. And you can kind of see the cake coming through a little bit. It was all the rage, yeah, a few years ago. A couple of years ago. It's not totally out of style. I think naked cakes will always have a place now, but you know, it saves you on icing. And it kind of doesn't matter as much if you have a few crumbs in it. You don't want a lot of crumbs, but a few crumbs aren't going to hurt you. And you scrape it good. Jericho, no, not for you, my dear. Not for you. I'm used to doing this on my turntable, so it's kind of hard for me to not be able to spin it the way I'd like. You didn't see that. This makes a big cake. Like, I'm impressed at the size of the cake that came out of that recipe. This is a full hearty cake. This is not a banana bread. This is cake. Uh-oh. Running low on icing. Sometimes you have to push it a little. No. No, I know it smells good. I can smell it too. This will clean up the edge to make it just a little bit nicer. A little cleaner looking. Okay.
So here I had to cut the audio off of the video, and I'm just doing a little voiceover here because I had forgot that I had music playing in the background at this point. And if I want to not get demonetized, I have to make sure there's nothing copyrighted in the background. So I'm just decorating it. I did some chocolate drizzle, had some extra icing, used a French star tip, stuck it in, and now just cleaning up the cake plate just to make it all shiny and lovely.
There you go. Banana cake. Thanks for the recipe, Kathy.
So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe because it helps me out, and I hope this video helped you out too, even though it was kind of long and windy. We did get there in it. It's an excellent recipe to try, seriously. So I've got a lot of other videos out there as well, so be sure to take a look. And as always, thanks for watching Cake-tastic Cakes.